Hi there, Happy New Year and welcome back to another video here. It is 2026 and as always at this time of year, the world is buzzing with vision boards, New Year's resolutions, and new goals for the year. And although I don't believe in waiting for a Monday or a new year to start working towards your goal, I do love a new year and I do feel like it is useful as sort of like a landmark to use to check in with yourself and an opportunity to reflect. And like the way I imagine it, you're kind of standing on top of a hill, peeking back to see how far you've come and also looking forward and kind of mentally preparing yourself for those goals and really committing to those habits and systems that will get you there, kind of manifesting and like visualizing yourself achieving them. And although I am so super motivated to get going, as I always am at this time of year, I also feel like there is so much noise, like some motivational but a lot distracting, and it can easily sway me in different directions, which I feel like has happened to me in the past. With that being said, I wanted to do a quick little video reflecting on last year and how it went overall and what I learned, how I'm recognizing and also filtering through the chaos that is all over social media to bring a new mindset to my New Year refresh. I'm also going to be sprinkling in some quotes that I've heard recently that have really stuck with me and have kind of motivated this shift and have me like thinking of a new way of like reframing my goals for this year. So let's get started. So 2025, I had a lot of plans for 2025. Just a bit of a backstory. I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada, and I had moved to LA in August of 2023 for a job. I had just finished school. So I moved to LA in August and then I started dating my boyfriend at the time in January of 2024. So 2024, that was kind of like the kickstart of that relationship and I spent a lot of time with that because it was amazing. And then in August of 2024, we moved in together. Fast forward to 2025, which is where I plan to become the ultimate me because I was truly settling into this new life in LA, which I feel like I should do a video on because I've been here for like 2.5 years now and I feel like I should speak on maneuvering, like moving to a new country or even just moving to LA and what I've learned and what I would recommend, but that's a future video. But like I said, I had a lot of plans. Some things I will say were kind of unrealistic looking back on them, but some of them were more realistic and I would say that I achieved some of them. One of them was that I wanted to shop less, like do less shopping for clothes and be more intentional with my shopping, which I think that I achieved. Like definitely the beginning of 2025, I was spending a lot of money on clothes and didn't really know exactly what I wanted or where I was going with my style. And definitely in the last 12 months, I've really honed in on my style, which was another goal of mine to kind of figure out what my style is and have my style more reflective of my personality. I still have a long way to go, but it's definitely gotten better. So I think that my spending and styling has become more intentional, which is what I really wanted. And then another thing is that I wanted to learn Spanish and I am far from learning Spanish. My husband is Spanish and his whole family speaks Spanish. So that's what kind of prompted that. I did take a couple of random like night classes, but it didn't really work with my schedule. My schedule being an issue will be a recurring thing in this video, but I did sign up for a Spanish class, like Spanish 1 at like a local community college, and I completed that semester. So I'm going to be taking it next semester, which starts in February. I'm going to be taking Spanish 2 in February, so I'm excited for that. So I wouldn't say like I achieved it. Obviously, like again, I still have a long way to go, but at least I found a program that works for me and I did learn a lot in that course and I'm excited to keep going. So that's one thing for sure. But as I was saying before, some of the goals that I chose were way too specific for time and consistency and truly didn't match with my lifestyle. And because of that, I was kind of like setting myself up for failure with those. Like some things like I wanted to start tennis lessons again last year. So when I first moved to LA, one of the things that I wanted to do was start playing tennis. And I did. I was relatively consistent for the first few months, but with my work schedule, because it was so all over the place, I wasn't able to commit to like that for any of the classes really and the locations or whatever. And like with it being LA, like everything's so spread out. So like the driving to the lessons, because they were also in different locations. It was just like, didn't make sense for me at the time with work and it getting busier. So I didn't really work for me after a while. Another goal of mine was to read 1 book a month when I'll be honest, I haven't read a book from start to finish in years. Like I haven't completed a book, which is actually crazy to say because obviously like in high school you read books all the time, but I actually haven't. Wait, there's a mosquito and I have to kill it. Eating us. Oh. think I got it. Anyways, but yeah, I haven't read a book from start to finish in years, so to try to tell myself to read one book every month for a year was pretty unrealistic. Again, going back to my schedule being inconsistent, but also just like the fact that I was committing to lots of things like this, or trying to commit to lots of things like this, like there is no way. Because like some of the other things that I also wanted to consistently commit to were like stretching. Like I wanted to get back into stretching. I feel like this is like everyone's New Year's resolution, is to like get better with like stretching or flexibility or mobility, and it's like literally on my list every year. But last year, again, I was like, I'm gonna stretch every night before bed. But again, like my work schedule was so inconsistent. Like sometimes I'd work 12 hours a day straight night. I'd work like 3 hours on, 3 hours off, 4 hours on, an hour off. I had no consistency with work, which really took over my life, I feel like, in most of 2025. So I couldn't commit to things like that, because I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna stretch before bed. But when I don't have a consistent bedtime, or even a bedtime, it was really hard to time and do all these things, and I'm just trying to survive. So that was kind of at the end of 2025, I'm like, hey, I survived. And another thing is I wanted to get into like running. I wanted to get back into baking, because I loved that like before I started this job or career. More daily routines. But looking back, I outlined these habits and systems based on an ideal situation in life, and I didn't take into account my life and my schedule enough. Which brings me to my first quote that I wanted to talk about, which is to break free from the noise. And this quote I actually heard, or I read on like a Jordan Sloan. She's like a Instagram influencer. It's at Jordan Sloan. I'll link her below, but she had talked about this in her stories, just saying that kind of what I opened this video with, but there is just so much noise in social media right now regarding like New Year's resolutions and like vision boards and like all these things, and that's super good, and I support people that put themselves out there like that and want to talk about their goals and like all these things they want to accomplish, get into for 2026. But also there is just so much noise that it can kind of be overwhelming for some, like for the viewer to see constantly, and it kind of can make some people feel like they're falling behind, or like they should be doing that too, when like maybe their lifestyle doesn't support that, or other things, like maybe they're still working on some things from 2025. Like it's nice to view sometimes, and it can be motivational, but it can also kind of be like distracting. So she had kind of mentioned like she's not sharing any of her goals or anything. She's been quiet on social media just because she wants a break from the noise. And I personally love watching everything New Year's this, New Year's that, like New Year's vision boards. Like I still have to do my vision board actually for this year, but I love watching like reels and TikToks and YouTube videos and like locking in for the new year. But at the same time, I think last year I just got a little too caught up in the hype. And when I designed these like systems and like kind of plan these goals and habits I wanted to do, it all sounded really good on paper, because I was reading Atomic Habits at the time and was so inspired to put all of those things from James Clear into practice. But in retrospect, I feel like I didn't correctly apply what I had learned. Like I did like list out the systems, but they weren't systems for me. Like I needed systems with a better framework that worked for me, which I have now learned is kind of where my productivity planner comes into play. So my productivity planner, actually I'll go grab it. Okay, so my friend had introduced me to the productivity planner, I think in like 2023, because I had talked about this in my 2024 New Year's video, but I didn't think about how the like methods and principles that they talk about in the productivity planner would help me form and stick to not only like my daily tasks, but also repeated tasks more than a rigid schedule would. And very basically, the productivity planner is about choosing 1 to 5 things a day that you want to accomplish. And very basically, the productivity planner is about choosing like 1 to 5 things a day that you want to accomplish, that if those were the only things that you accomplished that day, you would feel like you had a productive day. So like you write them out, you prioritize them, like first most important, second, third, fourth, fifth, up to 5. And then you give yourself however many 30-minute focus time intervals to accomplish them. But like that concept combined with being honest with myself, which to be honest like took a few years, allowed me to develop a goal setting and achieving framework that wasn't overwhelming and actually got me where I wanted to be. Because I learned that for me, I do best with like a checklist and just being able to freely check things off throughout the day or throughout the week, which is why like I use Google Tasks for these kind of things. I don't do well with like time blocking. I feel like last year or even a couple years ago, time blocking on like Google Calendar or whatever calendar you use was like super popular, but I just don't do well with strict time blocks. I just get overwhelmed when it's not completed in that time frame. I also feel like I live a life that doesn't allow for time blocking. I just do better with like a checklist that I can refer back to throughout the day, throughout the week, and just be like, oh yeah, I need to do this in order to become the person I want to be. I'm gonna get it done. So looking back at my goal I had for 2025, which was to read a book a month, how I'm reframing that for 2025 is basically I have like a daily task on in my Google Tasks that is to read on my Kindle, ideally before bed, minimum 3 nights a week, which also feeds into my sleep hygiene routine, which I'm also trying to get going. Now that spoiler alert, I got a new job and I have a much more regular schedule, so that is gonna help me so much. But I feel like that, like reading on my Kindle, minimum 3 nights a week before bed if I can, it's more realistic and less overwhelming than having to try to read a book a month, because I mean, I only tried this a couple of months in 2025, but I mean, obviously like most of the month I would not even touch a book, and then by the end of the month I'm like, oh crap, I have to read like an entire book in like a few days just to meet my goal, which obviously didn't happen. I only finished 1 book in 2025, and that was with the help of an audiobook. But I got a Kindle this year, and honestly it's so nice reading it before bed. And I don't think that I will read 12 books by the end of the year, but honestly, like I don't care. I just want to read more. Like my goal is to read more. But obviously there will be some goals that require a more specific outcome. Like I want to save X amount of dollars every month, or maybe you do want to challenge yourself and read a certain amount of books per month or per year. But the main takeaway is to just like not give into the noise and copy and paste what others are doing, but instead develop that appropriate compassionate self-talk. Like be honest with yourself and just like do what works for you and your lifestyle. But just having that kind of range and being able to give myself some leeway with timing and to have developed a bit more self-compassion when it comes to these goals, I've been able to achieve more with less rules, you know? Like I'm kind of, I guess, moving the goalpost a bit, but it's just helping me reframe my mindset and make me feel like I'm accomplishing more, which I mean I am, because I'm not feeling overwhelmed or like put down or like falling backwards because I'm not achieving these like random specific goals that I set for myself for no reason, which is important for self-improvement and productivity. And with all that being said, like I'm not saying that I didn't get a lot done last year, because 2025 was like a big year for me. And I'm not just talking about like the small scale things, like, you know, like I registered for and completed my first Spanish course. Like I kept up with my nutrition and like the gym. I got back into baking after I changed my job. I paid more close attention to my closet and my style. I got smarter with my spending and my finances. Like that is a lot. And I did all of those things in addition to the big things. Like you guys, like I got engaged and I got married last year. Like that's crazy. And yes, that's the same guy that I started dating in 2024. So 2 years later and we're married. Well, I guess we got married in May of 2025. So a year and a bit and we got married. We went to Hawaii for our honeymoon, which was also like not just our honeymoon, which was amazing, but it was also like my first big trip in forever. I think like, I don't even know. I want to say like 10 years, because I had just been in school and working all before that. So that was a big trip. We went to Kauai and we stayed at the one hotel, and I was just talking to my husband about this yesterday, but we have to go back. Like it is one of my, we have like other big trips planned. Like we're going to Mexico City for my birthday this year, and then we're hoping to go to Japan in September. But I'm like, we have to make time for Kauai because I really want to go back. Other things, I filed and received my green card. I also changed jobs. I also, like we moved into this place in 2024, 2025, we like furnished it. Like we moved in with not a lot of stuff, and it's not fully furnished, but we like very much made it a home. And we also got a dog. Like we got a dog. That was like one of our big life goals, and we got a dog. So it was a really good year. It was probably like, it's crazy to look back and see how much my life has changed in just like 2 years from like moving to LA from Canada. And 2025 was probably one of the biggest years of my life, with like getting married, getting my green card, getting a dog, like all these things. And I feel like it just like ran past me. Like 2025 was like a blur. And this kind of brings me to my next quote that I actually heard from Tess Barkley, who has a YouTube channel, Busy Blooming, or podcast or whatever. And she had asked ChatGPT, which she uses all the time, she asked what her biggest barrier to her success would be for this upcoming year. And ChatGPT told her, I'm gonna read it. The biggest reason you won't get where you want to go is because you will always be holding yourself hostage to a future version of you. A future version of you that will never exist. You have this version in your head of in the future you'll be this person, but that person will never exist. As a result, you'll constantly live in a state of progress towards a destination that isn't real. You're always wanting to become someone you were never meant to be, which really resonated with me because I feel like I have the hardest time living in the moment. Like what I had said earlier, I'm so task oriented. I'm like too task oriented. Like I am moving on to the next task before the first one is barely complete. And I am literally so hard on myself. I get so down on myself and so frustrated when I have an idea of who I want to be or what I want to be doing at this point in my life, like isn't my reality. I work myself up so much in my head. And when I'm not actively working on becoming that person, I just feel like very unsettled, I guess. Like rest is not allowed. Like I constantly have to be doing something to better myself or get where I want to be or be a better person. But also looking back, I have to realize a lot of who I am today is not because I planned it to be this way, you know, like especially in 2025, like I did not plan like to get engaged, married, go on a honeymoon, get my green card, any of these things. That was not on my 2025 bingo card. Like that was all unplanned. And when it says like you're holding your present self hostage to a future version of you that won't exist, that sounds like so sad. Like, and I sort of feel like that's how 2025 was for me, because I feel like although a lot of these like really amazing things happened in 2025, I still had a lot of plans for myself, I guess, that I like those goals that I had set. Like I want to get back into running and baking and tennis and reading, and like every week I'd be like, okay, well there's another week where I didn't get to do any of those things and I get frustrated about it. But I think we just all need to show ourselves more self-compassion, be less rigid, and just like still take life seriously and still try to be the best version of yourself, but just like enjoy life along the way. Look, for 2026, I am not going to share my goals like I have in past years because I don't think that's helpful for anyone, but I do think the tools and the self-talk are what are most important. In terms of tools, like I love Google everything. I am an Android user. I don't have an iPhone. I'm not sorry though. I love my Android, but I use Google Calendar, Google Keep, Google Tasks. Every year I feel like I add a new Google app to my arsenal and I just keep using them more and more. So I'm Google everything, and it really does help me stay organized and stay on top of things and stay motivated, and I love it. And it's already in my routine, so I already constantly like check it every morning and throughout the day, and it's like on my phone. And one thing I will share is like a screenshot of how I organize my day, my week, and my month and the tasks, and I just reset it every day, week, or month. I just refer to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do this in order to become the person who I want to be. It's just very non-threatening, and I love Google. So yeah, for 2026, it's more about like a feeling. Like I just want to feel good. It's not about like attending classes or buying things. Like I just want to be happy and present and enjoy the process. And so the last quote that I want to bring up that really resonates with me is, boring is a blessing. Years come and go so quickly, and life can be so crazy. And I'm very lucky that like right now, life is actually pretty chill, other than our new dog that we got in October, who is insane, but she's like a good kind of crazy. So she brings like a life to this house that I didn't know that we were missing, if that makes sense. But I just think like I'm so grateful for the life that I have right now, and I just want to appreciate the slower eras and moments, and boring is truly a blessing. Okay, like should we do something fun? Because originally for this video I wasn't going to do this much like talking about like goals and habits and stuff, but it kind of just turned out that way. So I kind of want to do something fun. Originally I wanted to talk more about like, I wanted to do a video on like best purchases I made for the year, but I don't know. I do love watching those too. Anyways, I think I'm just going to plug that in here because it is kind of reflective of these goals and where my life has kind of pivoted, I guess. I'm just going to do like my top 5 purchases for the year. So my number 5 is this coffee table. I don't know if you can even see it. Oh yeah, here. Oh no, you can't. Oh, kind of right here, right here. I'll post some pictures of it. But it is a coffee table we got at Alva Atelier. And I had been looking for a coffee table forever. It's crazy. When you shop for home things, you don't think how difficult it will be to buy things and find things that you like. I feel like my husband and I have kind of a more specific aesthetic that we're going for and more specific style, and like we don't love like the generic things. And I am right now at a point in my life where I'm buying things to invest in long term, so I don't want to buy like generic poor quality things. But that being said, like, okay, furniture first of all is so expensive. Like, why is it so expensive? The amount that I spent on furniture, I could have bought a car last year actually, and I was also paying off my car, so that was it's 2 cars. But yeah, this coffee table, it was actually, it's from Atelier. It's Solive Onyx. I actually saw it a while ago and it sold out. It's solid onyx, but it's 3 different pieces. But anyways, it sold out a while ago. I think they restocked at some point, but they restocked like a bench, and basically it would be too tall for our like couch. Cause like, again, another crazy thing is like things you don't consider in like sizes of things. So it could have been a coffee table for a taller couch, but our couch sits so low that like I didn't want it to, if I bought that as is, as like the bench, it would have been like you were sitting at a desk. So we actually had to get it. So we bought the bench version and then had the legs cut. And so now it's like the appropriate height, but it's like one of a kind, expensive. I think it's like 800 pounds, but we'll have it forever. I love it. Another thing I bought that I loved is my Miu Miu loafers. So this is one thing that I did like. It's like closet wise investment. My Miu Miu loafers, I got them in the brown suede. I love them. I think I talked about in another video how I was on the hunt for loafers forever, but I didn't find any that like matched my body shape because I am more athletic, and a lot of loafers are like slimmer and made me come down to a point, I feel. But I feel like these Miu Miu loafers weren't. They're just like much more my aesthetic style and just make me feel great and go with my body type. So I want to get them in the black as well, but that'll maybe be a 2026 purchase. Number 3 was, I already talked about this, but our Hawaii honeymoon in Kauai at one hotel. Recommend to anyone. Kauai was amazing. It's a smaller, I guess it's a smaller island, but it's more just like it's more quiet, I guess. But that's what we wanted. We did some surfing. We ate poke every day. It was the most amazing trip ever. And we're gonna go either again at the end of 2026 or beginning of 2027. Number 2 best purchase was my EcoVax D-Bot Omnicycle 11 something something. It's basically like a robot vacuum and mop. It's amazing. We have a Dyson vacuum too. The Dyson has been a little inconsistent. Like, it's not a robot at all. It's just like the handheld, like cordless vacuum. Our place is only 1,000 square feet. It's just vacuuming. If I can automate anything in terms of chores, I will pay to do that. And vacuum and mopping, I mean, we bought it on Black Friday, so we got it at like, I think like 40% off, and it's been life-changing. But I will say, like, I mean, it's not like we're messy people at all, but we bought it because of our number 1 purchase, which was our puppy, who is in the room right now because she's with my husband because she won't stop walking around in the background of my video, and it's very loud. But we bought it for her. She is half German Shepherd, half Husky, if you haven't seen her on my Instagram, but she is amazing. We adopted her. She's like 1 year, 5 months when we adopted her. And that was just like over 2 months ago. And she's amazing. She's like the smartest puppy ever. But yeah, going back to the whole vacuum mop thing, she sheds a ton. Even if we brush her, she just like, and it's like winter. It's like, why is she shedding? Like, I'm worried for the summer. But anyways, we got the vacuum mop. We're ready. And we use that every day because she sheds so much. But yeah, best purchases for sure. But looking back at those purchases, like, you guys, growth, because only one of those is like an actual clothing closet item. Whereas like, actually, you know what? I also bought my Miu Miu purse last year, which was a big cost too. I mean, not to say I didn't buy a lot of other expensive things, but they weren't my best purchases. And I think that says a lot about where, again, like my mind and spending and life has like pivoted, which is like another discussion, I think, for a future video, because it hasn't been an easy pivot. But you know, like, I guess 2 of the things were also for home. It's going that way. I guess the dog too, and like the trip, and like my life is changing. This is life now. But it's all very exciting. Progress is being made. I didn't plan for it to be this way, but this is where it's going, and it's all very exciting. So thank you guys for watching. Please let me know your best purchase of 2025, because I love my purchases, but I love hearing what other people bought too and what they would recommend to like spend money on again. I just love hearing what people are loving to buy. And yeah, I hope everyone had a really great end of their 2025, and Happy New Year, and talk to you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.